Hello and welcome to another GamePro review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one, we are once again having a comeback scaling game as promised in the last one because that was kind of a turbo giga snowball. Except this time we're going to be using Viego / Viego. Standard runes on your screen now. Conqueror, bit of tenacity because, as you can see, Udyr, Rise, Ezreal, Galio. Yeah, that's kind of bad, you know, and the fact that they're behind in gold almost 90% of the game basically shows you that, and well, I guess why I chose Viego for this game. You have to find a way to get yourself fed. You cannot be the person that is losing. You cannot be the jungler that has no income, no potential, no map control, no objective focus, nothing. You know, the top lane is gonna feed hard, and when I say hard, I mean it. The bottom lane gap isn't as big, but the enemy bottom lane, the Ezreal Galio, has 2,000, 3,000 gold leads. The mid's the one that just goes even, so what's the position there that breaks it even, and that's the jungle. Now, what we're going to focus on is how Viego, in this case, is able to make sure, even though there's a few inting moments, obviously, we're behind the whole game, we need to scale, we need to come back. He still manages to make sure he is, you know, in a position to actually take over the game when it matters. And junglers very often will say to me, listen, this snowball is great, you know, we love snowballs. Everyone loves snowballs. YouTube algorithm shows us this. The problem is, as he finishes the grump with a nice burn tick, there we go. The problem with this is, sometimes your laners don't cooperate, and sometimes you end up in a bad position as well. How do we navigate that? How do we make sure we are fed? And how do we sort of, you know, make sure that the enemy doesn't roll over you in the mid game? And that's one of those big things. You notice how he's dragging the camps here as well? Very important. Most notably, because they went in this invade early, he didn't want to face check this. What if they had counter invaded in some capacity? What if, you know, they had done something that would have let him be trapped and killed? So he said, you know what, I'm just going to solo the red, solo the blue, and that's fine. While we're doing this, please, you know Udyr is going to farm much faster than you. He's going to go be done. He's going to take a crab. If there's no ganks, he's going to reset, he's going to take the bottom crab, he's going to sequence again. Really, you're just at the mercy of him. So we have to be able to, with Viego, with Rengars, with champions like this, get ahead in the lanes and get ahead in terms of tempo. Now, if you're in high elo and you watch these videos, this is key. You know, too often, 5 camp by default. We need the red buff. We need it. We need the Grugs. We need them. We need to get the crab. No. Right? If you see a play that can be made before they reach crucial level 3s, or at least, you know, as your wave is crashing, then do it. Go for these plays. Now, in high elo, you're trusting that everyone hits their spells. In this case, Viego does hit his spells. He has to flash out. You'll get the soul heal here, and then, of course, the arcane shift out. Rel will most likely die, so that's obviously not up, you know, that's not the best thing in the world. And obviously execution is key. The champions in your champion pools, in your games, excuse me, are key. Don't just go for it blindly. I'm just saying, look for it. Try and get the execution down. And solo queue won't always happen. Udyr sees this and says, alright, that's, you know, that's a free gank. I get top crab. Viego now has a different path in front of him. Mid lane is super low, so he should be able to try get something here, but at least that's what we call a assist by proximity. I love those, and I hate them at the same time. If you're a laner, you love it. Okay, jungler ganked, forced them to die to me, where they wouldn't have died otherwise, and as a jungler it sucks because you don't get anything, but, you know, we'll take that if our laners are competent, which in high elo Korea and most regions they should hopefully be. Fall back to red now. You have to understand here, now there's going to be a cadence shift, right? Udyr will most likely reset. He knows this is gone. He knows he can take this, and he can carry on about his business. You on the other hand, excuse me, now have to do your red. Okay? You kind of have to do your Krugs to reset. The Udyr is not going to be stealing this. Although, if he was hanging around here, for example, if he ganked top lane, he took the crab, he ganked mid lane, and they saw you go down, very easily you could lose this. So, understanding what the Udyr wants to accomplish, what the enemy jungler wants to accomplish is important. There we go. We saw him here. We saw that on the ward. Very nice. Now you can take your Krugs. You can shadow the bottom lane. If something happens here, we can sort of counter gank it. We can get involved. But we don't necessarily want to give away our location too much at this point. However, Rise has moved down, as we saw, and placed the ward. So now they know exactly where you are. Now in this instance, the decision becomes, do I go back to base, reset, and sequence down again? Or because they know where I am, do I simply take my raptor camp to prevent the Udyr running across the river and stealing them? And I think that's a solid choice. Also, because you're Viego, you can kind of stay out a lot longer. Now, in this case, what you're going to see is this lane is going to become cursed, I guess is the word. Viego now, the problem here is missing, had control, Rise roamed down, you've got Galio most likely in this area, and as a bottom lane, if you lose tracking of the bottom lane, the support or the ADC, when your wave gets shoved, now there's a question mark. Is he here? Is he here? Is he here? Here? Is he roaming? You have no idea. So it's very important to keep vision and maintain vision as bottom lanes move away from their counterparts. The Viego here felt, you know, like, okay, I can sequence up again without resetting. That's great. I can prevent counter jungling, which is great. The problem is that Udyr, as we can see, already has his Ionian Boots of Lucidity. And that's kind of the point of this early game. Just talking about how do we actually end up in these bad situations. And Udyr goes flashy, flashy. Rise says stunny, stunny. And Galio says Fury, Fury. And 2 kills. So obviously, an inauspicious start. One might even say ominous. Now, once we respawn here, you know Udyr is most likely traveling to the top side. He wants to steal this stuff. And you have to be very careful. Solo kill, right? Bottom lane dead because Rise moved down. Viego's just thinking great. You're thinking great. I forced a play, I forced a counter gank, I didn't consider the enemy support. Now what? Now is the beginning of the long road to freedom. Right. You know that Udyr stole your stuff. We saw him right there. I think everyone saw that, right? As you hopping the plant here, you have to anticipate or see the plant gets hit. Okay? We don't have vision, so you don't always necessarily see the animation in-game. But as you hop this, you see that very briefly. It's tough to sort of react to it immediately, but you have to control yourself. You have to be thinking, Udyr must be on the top side. Udyr must be counter-jungling me. You cannot afford to be greeting, however you are Viego. Which is my point. You cannot afford to be greedy in this situation. However, you must note, super low, fighting you with his fisticuffs. This dude has ultimate. And Rise, we last saw, right, was ganking bottom lane and going back to base. So we know we have the 2v2 prior, should we want it. Now in your games, you might not have the mid laner with the sentience able to recognize, hey, I'm Twisted Fate, I have a global ultimate, I can use it. However, you know, as you get into the higher elos, people will make these plays. And look at the strength of Viego by himself. I mean, he becomes the gangplank. And even then, you most likely can do things without the Twisted Fate. The help is obviously, you know, very nice, but that's well played, and that's a specific thing to Rengar and Viego where you can snowball those situations in ways that other junglers cannot. Now we can probe counter jungling. We've got Rel showing up. Stun card. Rel card. Viego's got his W, which has already been used, obviously, so here you can actually use your ult to reposition, and then you can follow up. Well played. Take his soul. Now you gotta be careful, because Galio's respawning, ADC's respawning. At this point, this is quite an aggressive move. You know, Tristana is not going to be able to reach the play. Ezreal will show up first. So I think here is... I mean, I guess you have no choice but to try and fight your way out of it, but inherently there is risk in those kinds of plays. Do not always feel the need to go for them in such frivolous ways. Right. Udyr most likely bottom side. You can give them the dragon. If they are on the dragon, if they're doing the dragon, doesn't matter. There's literally nothing you can do about it. What you do is you carry on farming. Alright, if you know Udyr's on the bottom side, great. Problem is if you don't have mid prior, as you can see, things become kind of difficult because now you want to go top side, but the fact that the dragon hasn't been dinged, and the fact that bottom lane is showing, this guy probably went back to base, you know, Rise disappeared, you don't really know anything, you know, and once you see Rise here, you have to be cautious that the red side is up, and if they all move to sort of block you off, you're going to be in another situation where you just straight into. Now, Kali's down 2 levels, so this is ganking a losing lane. Now, I understand the desire to do this because you yourself can handle it, but clearly she cannot. Udyr shows up on the map. There is Galio mid lane who will have his ult as well, but I don't think they need to use anything else because... So that's a wasted flash, because... Udyr! Woo! Yeah. I'm so excited that this champion is still fine. Can we just gut him and Hecarim? Like, is anyone gonna be upset about that? I mean, even Hecarimains are probably happy. Hey, I get to play my champion again. Everyone else, I'm happy. Udyr and Hecarim no longer exist. From there, tragedy will most likely happen again. We can look for plays, although at this point, the sole goal of the jungler, remember as I said, is to maintain some sort of experience and gold parity with the enemy. I don't think here rushing in greedily is always the best play. We saw Udyr there. I mean, you get the kill, you don't get the reset, so it's a good mechanical play. By the way, this player, this Viego player, very good jungler. I'm actually doing another gameplay review for the main channel from this jungler. Really is interesting to watch mechanically. Very good decision making is good. Very aggressive, but knows exactly how to snowball and how to actually come back in games. Now here, this is very much the Viego Rengar snowballing champion special. I can still beat you guys 1v1, right? I mean, I'm down a level, but I can still beat you 1v1. I still have Twisted Fate Ultimate. We have TP from top lane. You're not afraid of actually moving into these situations and just taking over. And I think that's so important in these kind of games. If you're playing a jungler that's... Hold that thought. Movement speed passive. There we go. Nice. And the orange is eaten, but it doesn't matter. So that's good. If you're playing a jungler that isn't able to actually sort of hang on their own, you're going to have situations where you just cannot come back. Because instead of going up to the top side and just beating out the Udyr 1v1, making this gank on a level 9 gangplank, you're kind of forced to say, right, I can't go where they are. I'm going to take my camps. I'll try something bottom lane. Ryze is turbo invading bottom side heavily. And this is where things change. All right? Normally, you might feel compelled to do the Herald, but that's already gone. The Udyr decided to focus on that. Normally, you might feel compelled to maybe get some plates top, counter jungle, but if the Udyr took the Herald, none of that's up. The only stuff that's of value to you is currently the bottom camps, the dragon, and a whole bunch of champions. Now, you know they're going to try and make this play, because if we look at the gold lead at the moment, 2-6 to 5 is literally double. You are 500 above, that's fine. Mid lane is equal. Bottom lane is, got a 1300 gap in the ADC, and you got 1200 gold gap from the support position. So, what do? You need to put out the fire. And the only way to put out the fire is actually going to try and do stuff. And you've got your mythic item completed. So, we have the TP coming through and the dive happening. Now, the Ryze TPs them back into Mordor, apparently. But the Viego's immediate rotation here is an important note. That's what I wanted you guys to focus on. Stun to stop the ult. You can fall. We can become the Galio. Don't always feel the need to become a champion, but things like Galio are pretty strong. I mean, everyone's really strong at the moment. So, as you can see, not only is Viego one of the most irritating champions to play against, when he becomes champions that are strong as well, then that has even more benefit for his team. I'm going to look at this. I mean, he's down 2 levels, but the Herald push does get the tower, which is nice. That's why it's important to put yourself in a position that even though you may die in a few situations, that you can actually do that. Because if you cannot do that, this game is done. This game is done. 11, 4, and 0. Yes, there were a couple of decisions where you'd say, rationally, or, here, or even here, like those 3 are aggressive moves. Those are, we're in a losing game. I need to make a mechanical outplay. I need to use my champion design, 3,000 years experience, to actually get myself just a little bit of gold so that when this one moment occurs in the timeline where I can basically get a pseudo pentakill, then I'm actually primed to use it. And that's very important. Now, the game is far from over. You might feel strong, everyone else is useless. We need to be very careful. Udyr eventually gets the dragon, which is fine. We don't get the dragon, and that's something you can always talk about. Nice rotation. Didn't go to his camps, didn't go to Crab, saw top lane a kill, and went and snuck it. Okay, important. The kills stop the pushing. By getting kills here, it's not always the most sound League of Legends, but in a solo queue game when you're behind, it can give you the opportunity to offset whatever your monkey teammates are doing. Which, as you can see in this case, is who knows what. This is fine, though. Because at this point, right, you're 30 minutes into the game, you want to try and hold as much as you can. Now, this is where you hold this and this. You're not trying, this will fall eventually. You know, they're going to try and coalesce over this, but currently you have no vision in these areas. So if everyone goes bottom lane, don't go this way. Take the camps that you can, and then look to maybe make a pick if you can. Ezreal's pushing by himself, there's 3 bottom lane. We can handle this. Alright? We can handle this. Hold the mid-wave tower, that's fine, plates are gone. Clear the vision with your scanner, make sure you have control wards ready to go. Here's a ward as well, we clean this up. This is it, this is fine, this is all we're looking to do. Watch his behavior. Walking into the room, placing a control ward, clearing the next one. He's not looking to pick anyone unless they don't see him arriving, because if they see you arriving for that pick on the Ezreal and the whole team moves up, you're in a 4v1 and you die, you give the shutdown, and you're the only one that's fed. So in this case, vision control... Halo saying? Why? See, that's what too many people do. They just saw the Viego setting vision control. They're going to be moving to cut off if he tries anything. There's no need to go this deep. Ever. Right? Ever. You literally have to just ward and farm and relax for a bit. Wait for the numbers advantage in your favor. We have a lot of gold though, I think. 1500, yeah. Blade of the Rune King complete. And this is the thing. Splitting. Split. We see him moving up, if you pay attention, move up here. Gangplank most likely swapping. And Ezreal went back to base because you're shoving mid with a lot of gold. So, when that happens, now, please, make the pick. Make the pick. And you see the Urdi here, he gets cut off. I mean, he was going Chem Tank super mode. He simply gets cut off. You've got the Gallery rotating in, right? So that's, we're looking for the pick, but you know you have numbers advantage and gold advantage in this exact scenario because Ezreal isn't there. So, very nicely done. Very nicely done. Now, here we have a crossroads, okay? If the Ryze is by himself, it's a 3v1, you kill him easily. Because the Udyr moved on up and was going to cut off, you prime yourself with the counter gank, which our Viego did. The only reason it became a 3v3 is because Galio has the ult. In a non-Galio situation, you might have someone else showing up a little later. Just keep track of the numbers, make sure you're focusing the right target. When you get that shutdown while they reset, alright, this is the big thing, because they're going to break this open. They're going to push this. So while you have numbers advantage, you want to now look to punish them again. But only when you have 100% certainty of success. You got 150 gold shutdown. I understand the need to go do that, but I honestly think here a Herald is huge. Because I understand, look, you're the only Fed member, so we want to collapse a mid lane 3v2 while Ryze is dead and Galio is dead. But the problem is, if they see you coming, they're just going to run down to the bottom side. They're going to, you know, get that control. I like the Herald there more. Personally, for your solo queue games, I like your Herald more. Because most likely, this is going to happen anyway. You know, you cannot stop this. She's going to die. By taking this, what you're doing is you're setting it up so the next time a dragon spawns, and it's been very slow dragons this game, you have some kind of counter push. So that you can actually try to get a fight that's advantageous to you. You stop them getting it, which means they're not able to actually punish you if you guys make a mistake. If you make a mistake and they have Herald, it can be kind of rough. However, our guy decided to rotate and cut off all avenues of escape. And now we're going to try and look to cut off the Udyr as well as the Gangplank. Everyone's moving down. You got the stun. You got Conqueror stacked. And I don't know why that movement speed is okay. And again, assist by proximity. Shut down to Twisted Fate. It's twice. But it's all the good plays. You're really fed. Give the experience to the Tristana. They cannot afford to make any plays. And that's why, in these games, even though there was, we didn't really focus on the early game stuff, we talked about that a lot. Even though those plays were made, the aggressive ones, because you're on a snowball champion and you yourself had control mechanically and had enough gold, you could turn them in your advantage. But as soon as they split push, if you're on the winning team, that's the right play. If you're on the losing team, it's also the right play, as long as you have numbers advantage. As long as. They're gonna Herald now. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. You have to farm your camps, control your vision, there you go. Good ward again, make sure the entrances are covered. They take the Herald. Now we're gonna go river swimming. Again, we have to be careful. TP comes through from the Rise. Gangplank is still bot. Akali's gonna go match him, but I don't think it's gonna make anything. Here's where things get a little overzealous. I mean, it's great that they kill the Rise. We see the TP come through, we make the play. Now you have to back up. And that's why having the Herald here would be so good. If we've got a Herald advantage, they're on the Dragon 100%. Maybe we can at least grab a tower. In my mind, that's a good play, but... However... Do you understand the concept of playing behind when you're fed? You see this. Okay, we make picks, people die, we see the TP, we collapse. He's gonna have to retreat, there's a dragon up. Let's just simply go ahead, kill the Gangplank, cut them off from the dragon, and secure it ourselves. It's a really good play, right? And you keep doing that over and over again, and it's exhausting. It really is exhausting work. It's not fun to... I mean, it is fun if you're the Viego. It's not fun for anyone else. Because as soon as you overcommit to a fight like this, you're gonna be in a rough position. Oh man, I wish I had a Herald right now. See, you have to be very careful here, because you kind of have HP with now decent golden pocket. Pretty much only Viego. And they have a lot of golden pocket. Yeah, I'm stuttering because I kind of just want them to withdraw a little bit. Because Rise will be up again. Oh, we can just screenshot this. We can just screenshot this and say, and change the rank to like silver. You know, going base, doesn't really want to fight, has 1500 gold. The rest of the team thinking, hey, we can make a comeback, and they're just sitting mid. You know, it's kind of pretty much the League of Legends solo queue special. Now you shut down. I think in this case, people asking coaching a lot, and again, links for all that in the description. People ask a lot of times in these situations, if I'm the only carry and my whole team's behind, do I help them there? I don't think you do. I think you have to see this as doom. Because you got so much gold in pocket, and they have Herald, you know, at the very least you can snatch some experience yourself, and some gold yourself, to stop them taking it away, so that when your team's up again, you actually have even more power. I mean, they only lost Viego, but the thing is, by saving the day, and well, by saving the day, you give them shutdown. Now, what's interesting is the Rise is going back through the river. Okay. We see the Galleon going up to the Baron, so they're concerned that they're on the Baron right now. Which is fair play. Scan and clear. Assuming Rise went back to base, I think this is a logical assumption, because you see him go back here, but not over this ward, so if he's sitting in this after that fight, 100% go back to base. Same thing, right? Same thing. Trap cards. Don't extend past your sphere of influence. Use your vision control, don't face check like the Rel did earlier. What do they see? What do we see? The Twisted Fate yellow card here is so good for the Udyr. It's irritating, but... Notice the push. That's why setting up side waves are so important. Rise now has to go deal with that. He still doesn't have TP, we're timing it, which means we can actually go ahead and try and make a play. Excellent. That's exactly what you're looking for macro-wise. Set the slow push top, set the slow push bot, what have you. Make it so that it crashes on the tower, someone feels compelled to go up to the top side, and when you have that numbers advantage, you use it. And now, okay, you're still behind, right? And they still scale, you're still behind, but we can actually play with Baron threats. I don't think we want to 50-50 this. I don't think we want to invoke some kind of fight. We're just looking to make a I mean, if they don't check it, we finish it. If they come, we fight, because we have numbers advantage. But you don't do what Rel did, which is just... inting. It's just inting. Right. Scan, vision control. Our Kali 071. You have no choice now but to farm a little bit. Look at what gets... There's no theory behind that, my friends. That is just a really good play. Yellow card into basically everyone hopping over the wall. That's just making plays. That was close too. Once again, You want the comeback, it requires patience and discipline. Ward. Buddy, ward. Someone hit it. Get it? There you go. Right. And now we've got Gangplank once again out of position. And we're the same level as him. So, because we have patience, well done. Because you have such supreme patience, right? Every time they push and fail, they're just losing experience. Yeah, they took these towers, but it's taken them a long time just to get 2 more towers. And every time you're in a situation, full there. Every time you're in a situation to be able to do that, you have to capitalize because you are the Fed member. I mean, it's 17-5-2. The Twisted Fate's doing a great job, right? Genji quit. But the problem is, no one else is really in a position to do anything. Tristan is 1, 3, and 4. At 23 minutes out of 21 kills. The support is 1, 6, and 7. Is cosplaying Hylissang 100%. You've got Akali, who is just basically someone who's like, hey, Akali's a champion. She's fun, and just picked her up first time in a challenger game. You really are trying to 2v8 this game with the Twisted Fate. TB comes through, they're gonna go for the dragon. They could be on the Baron. You don't really have 100% knowledge, so, you know, that's where questions come in. At this point, I definitely think if we can get a nice fight, because they're most likely on the dragon. Okay. Ezreal should die to the Tristana bomb. Rel falls again. We get exhausted, you kite it out until it's done. Use your stopwatch. Kali's diving the back line. We need 1 reset here. There we go. Whew, that was intense. That was well played. That was very well played. Patience, but as you can see, the Rel finally made an engage that made sense. And now you can Baron. Now you can Baron. Too many times, though. Too many times. Viegos, or any player of any mechanical prowess, will not win that fight like the Viego did. Now, the Tristana and everyone did a good job. No question. No question. You don't win without your team there. But you have to play around your team in some capacity. You have to play around what they're actually looking to do. And if you don't play around them, and you get exhausted and you don't wait it out, you're not going to have fun either. Right. After that, farm your camps if you have gold atomization spikes that you might need. We got 2-1 in the bank. He wants to most likely build a Zhonya's here because we all know Viego's got the AP scaling on his passive, on his Q passive, on his W, on his E. It makes a lot of sense. We don't have any quantumization buffs that would change the nature of the game, although if you die here, that's kind of inting. I don't like... I mean... I don't like that we're forcing this in different places. I mean... It pays off, I don't like the decision. Now, as I said, he didn't really need to go back. It wasn't... I mean, there's definitely some things, components he could buy that'd be useful. But with a Baron like this and everyone with a lot of gold... You know... Kali 1-7-1. Even in that mid lane fight, you got 1 kill. 1 kill. Yeah, this is great at all if you can actually win the fight as Viego can, and then push a tower when you have, you know, 4 dead. Obviously, that's what we want to do with Baron. Just be very mindful, okay? Don't do the Baron, do the Dragon, and then go fighting and then you guys get aced because they've spent all their gold and you spent none. Right, that's a Viego thing, that's a Kindred thing, it's a Rengar thing. If you've hit spikes that are just so strong that you can do that, go for it, but... Right, now we want to do absolute standard macro things. And basically, from our point of view, the game is neutralized. From a gold point of view, it really is. Yeah, they scale a lot. We just have to be very careful the fights we pick, and we're not looking to int and tower dive and get too deep. Alright? So like here. No. No, 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 no. No. Zhonya's. No. We just gave shutdown. Still have 600 shutdown left over. Travesty. Absolute travesty. 3-4-7. Rel is still going to be Rel. All the gold is in the Viego. Do not flash here. Dive. That's too deep. Everything here was great. So disciplined. Exhausted. Kited out. Floated down. Killed the split push a few times. Just controlled the entrances to the jungle with vision. Knowing no one could match up 1v1. Don't get to this point where you actually can win the game and then flash. Because now they're leaderless. The sheep have no shepherd. They don't know what to do. And can they actually do anything? I'll be amazed. Akali's TPing in, although... sorry, Twisted Fate's TPing in. That is Akali. 2 dead. I mean, it's fine because there's no real objective, but everyone's gonna have different death timers now. All caused because of Viego's dead. Because, there you go, finally. Now what? You know? This is the problem with comebacks, is you make the comeback and then you make one mistake and you lose. Or you're solo carrying a game and it's 25 minutes, it looks winnable. And then you make one mistake and you lose. You have to be so disciplined. Now, the Zhonya's, as we discussed, AP scaling, it's really useful in the case of, I mean, they're really a hybrid team comp 100%, but the stasis can come in big if you get CC'd and things like that. Also have the option for QSS and whatnot, but I mean, the Zhonya, I kind of like hybrid builds. I'm a bit of a sucker. I play volleyball as well. Things excite me, you know, when someone brings out a hybrid build. Nonetheless, gold is spent. Kindle Gem for extra HP. Your team is T-beaten with the Akali 2A2 now, definitely bringing that 0.5 KDA to the fight. There's an objective spawn. All it comes down to is making sure you win the fight now that the game is even. Let's observe if our hero can succeed. Twisted Fate's up as well. He has ult, so... Oh no. Red team, be very careful. Red team, red team, red team. That is, that's great by the blue team. Horrific by the Galio. What on earth? What? Why? That's GG, right? What on earth am I watching here? So, there's a dragon up gonna be spawning. Alright, there's a Baron gonna be spawning. They decide, let's go and obliterate the Twisted Fate so he can't split and ult in. Problem is, the Gallagher gets caught out and the Viego punishes him for his sins. Also makes sure he kills the Rise as well. Okay. Gets multiple resets. Erzel's thinking, where's my peel? These two are off chasing a Twisted Fate who they don't even kill. Hands up if that's ever happened to you in solo queue. Because happened to me a lot. Anyway, if this does happen to you, please enjoy your free LP. Tristana's got the split push bottom lane. You can very easily two-man the Baron here with Viego and Akali. Yeah, there you go. You can very easily take the dragon. Yep. They're gonna collapse on you now, but I think at this point, great pick, great use of the E-Shroud to remain hidden, hit the W for the chain CC proc, but the red team definitely got tilted and through, and that's the whole point of everything we've talked about in this video, is it feels stale, but it requires so much patience and discipline because not only do you maintain the gold lead gap, and every time, you know, a pick sort of comes through, you get to close that gold lead a little bit, and if you're fed from the early game, you can actually use it to take on split pushes that are seemingly ahead. It ultimately tilts the enemy no end. They cannot push the towers, that they cannot actually do anything because they're trying to set up 1-3-1s. They cannot because the Viego is just patrolling the whole map, and that's a 22 bomb. You know, that's a 22 bomb. Twisted Fate definitely great play this game, assisting Twisted Fate, but man, that was a 2v8 if I ever saw one. Hey, the Tristana did her job in the end. The Kali had a little bit of impact. Hopefully you can see how you have to think about the early game and in terms of aggression as a snowballing jungler. Just because you're behind doesn't mean you can't try and make plays. In fact, sometimes it's encouraged. However, in the mid game, if the game is really in a horrific state, employ patience, discipline, make those picks, patrol the rivers, can keep your camp farm up as safe as it possibly can be, and you're most likely looking at beautiful Viego comebacks. Kindreds, Rangars, their loveless playstyle. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're able to enjoy and learn something a bit more intense in terms of macro and the mental game. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. This champion's not okay, man.